Good evening, dear listener, as the world quiets and the stars begin to peek through the velvet sky. Imagine yourself in a place far removed from the hum of modern life, where the air carries the scent of dust and olive trees, and the distant clatter of bronze echoes faintly. You're not in your cozy bed tonight. No, you're in Sparta, 5th century BC. And the dawn is just breaking over the rugged hills. The world feels raw, unyielding, like a stone worn smooth by centuries but still heavy in your hand. Settle in, let your breath slow. And picture this, you're a Spartan woman, and today will test every ounce of your resolve. You awaken on a simple pallet, the straw beneath you prickling through a thin woolen blanket. The room is bare, clay walls, a single wooden stool, a loom in the corner that seems to stare at you with expectation. No soft mattress, no morning coffee to ease you into the day. The air is cool, tinged with the sharp tang of herbs drying in the rafters. You stretch, your muscles already sore from yesterday's exertions, and pull on a plain chiton, its coarse fabric grazing your skin. It's not exactly athleisure wear, but then, Sparta doesn't care for your comfort. You chuckle softly to yourself. Imagine trying to pitch yoga pants to these folks. They'd probably use them as kindling. Outside, the first light spills over the Taygetus mountains, painting the valley in hues of gold and shadow. You step into the courtyard, where the ground is hard-packed dirt, and the other women of the household are already stirring. There's no time for lingering. Today, like every day, begins with training. Sparta demands strength. Not just from its men but from you, too. You're expected to be as tough as the bronze shields hanging in the armory, ready to bear warriors or defend the city if the need arises. You lace up leather sandals, nothing like the cushioned sneakers you're used to, and join the group heading to the training grounds. The path winds through olive groves, the leaves whispering in the morning breeze. You can almost hear the trees gossiping about the latest Spartan victory. The air smells of earth and resin, and for a moment, you're tempted to linger, to let the serenity wash over you. But a sharp whistle from the group's leader snaps you back. You're not here to daydream. You're here to run, to wrestle, to prove you're worthy of the Spartan name. The training ground is a wide, dusty field, ringed by low stone walls. Other women, young and old, are already there, their faces set with determination. You feel a flicker of panic. Your last gym session was months ago, and it mostly involves scrolling through your phone on the treadmill. The exercises begin with running laps around the field. Your feet pound the earth, kicking up clouds of dust that cling to your sweat-dampened skin. The sun is barely up, and already you're gasping. The other women move with a grace born of years of practice, their strides long and sure. You stumble once, catching yourself on a rock, and someone snickers. "City legs," they mutter. And you bite back a retort. You'd love to tell them about your spin class PR, but here, it's irrelevant. Sparta doesn't care about your personal bests unless they involve outrunning a helot rebellion. Next comes wrestling, and oh, it's not the stage drama of modern TV. You're paired with a woman named Lysandra, whose arms look like they could crush a boar. She grins, not unkindly. And before you know it, you're flat on your back, staring at the sky. The impact jars your bones, but you scramble up, determined not to look weak. Lysandra offers a tip: keep your weight low. Move with purpose, and you try again. This time, you last a few seconds longer before eating dirt. Progress, you suppose? You laugh under your breath, imagining your friends' faces if they saw you now. "You wrestling? In a toga?" they'd say. "It's a chiton," you'd correct them, but the point stands. The training isn't just physical. It's a ritual, a way to forge you into something unbreakable. Historically, Spartan women were unique in the Greek world, trained to be as resilient as their male counterparts. Unlike Athenian women, confined to their homes, you're out here, sweating under the sun, expected to embody the city's ideals. But there's a quirky side to this rigor. You notice some women tying their hair with strips of cloth dyed red. A nod to Sparta's obsession with discipline even in appearance. It's oddly charming, like a warrior's version of a scrunchie. You try it, fumbling with the knot. And Lysandra laughs, a rare sound in this stoic place. As the morning wears on, your body aches in ways you didn't know were possible. You're not sure what's worse: the blisters forming on your feet, or the fact that this is just the start of your day. You glance at the other women, their faces flushed but resolute, and wonder how they do it. Scholars still debate whether Spartan women's training was truly egalitarian or just another tool to serve the state's military machine. Either way, it's exhausting. You wipe sweat from your brow and trudge on, the dust settling into every crease of your skin. This is Sparta, and there's no room for softness, not even for you. The whistle blows again, signaling a brief rest. You collapse onto a stone bench, your chest heaving. The breeze carries the faint scent of wild thyme, and for a moment, you close your eyes, letting the world fade. You're not just a visitor here. You're living it, every bruising, breathless second. And as the sun climbs higher, you realize this is only the beginning. Sparta has more in store. And you're not sure you're ready. But for now, you breathe, you endure, and you brace for what comes next. The sun is climbing now, its warmth seeping into the dusty training ground where you sit, splashing water from clay basins onto their faces and arms. You follow suit, the cold water a shock against your flushed skin. It's not exactly a spa day, but there's a strange satisfaction in the simplicity. You dry your hands on your chiton, laundry day's not today, thankfully, and join the group at a long wooden table under an awning. The shade is a mercy, the air carrying a faint whiff of baked earth and herbs. You sit, your thighs aching as they meet the hard bench. Breakfast is laid out with no fanfare: barley bread, dense and chewy, a bowl of black olives glistening like tiny moons, and a jug of watered-down wine that smells faintly of resin. There's no butter, no jam, no Instagram-worthy spread. You reach for a piece of bread, its crust rough against your fingers, and tear off a chunk. It's hearty, almost too much for your modern palate, but you're too hungry to care. The olives are sharp. There's salt waking your senses, and the wine, well, it's more like grape-flavored water, but it washes everything down. You half expect someone to pull out a protein shake. And the thought makes you chuckle. "What's funny?" Calliope asks, raising an eyebrow. You shrug, muttering something about foreign tastes. This meal is more than sustenance. It's a ritual rooted in Sparta's obsession with frugality. Historically, the city prided itself on austerity, even for its elite, while Athenians might indulge in fish or honeyed cakes. Spartans kept it lean, believing excess weakened the spirit. You chew slowly, noticing how the women eat with purpose, no chatter, no lingering. It's communal yet disciplined. Each bite a reminder of the collective strength you're supposed to embody. You try to match their pace, but your jaw's already tired from the bread. Imagine explaining a drive-thru to these women. They'd probably march you back to the training field for suggesting it. There's a quirky detail you notice as you eat. The bread is shaped into small, round loaves, each marked with a faint cross. Lysandra whispers that it's a nod to the goddess Demeter, a quiet offering baked into every meal. It's oddly touching. This blend of practicality and piety, like sneaking a prayer into your morning bagel. You press your finger against the cross on your loaf, feeling the coarse grain, and wonder how many hands before yours have done the same. The moment grounds you, tying you to this place, this time, even as your blisters remind you you're an outsider. The meal isn't just about eating, it's about connection. You listen as the women exchange brief words, plans for the day, a festival coming soon, a stray comment about a neighbor's wayward goat. Their voices are low, measured, like they're saving energy for what's next. You're expected to contribute, but your mind's still reeling from the morning's drills. You manage a question about the olives, and Calliope explains they're from a grove tended by the household's elders. "Tough trees like us," she says, and you smile, sensing the pride behind her words. You're starting to see how every act here, even eating, is woven into Sparta's identity. Scholars still debate whether these communal meals were truly egalitarian or just another way to enforce conformity. Did they foster unity? Or were they a subtle reminder of your place in the hierarchy? You're not sure, but as you finish your bread, you feel the weight of expectation settling over you. The women rise, clearing the table with practiced efficiency, and you scramble to help, nearly knocking over the wine jug. Lysandra catches it, rolling her eyes. City hands, she teases, and you laugh. Grateful for the jab. It's the second time today you've been called out. Maybe you're earning a nickname. The meal ends, and you stand, your stomach full but your body still aching. The courtyard hums with activity as the women prepare for the next tasks. You glance at the table, now bare except for a few olive pits, and feel a pang of nostalgia for your usual breakfast routine. Cereal and a podcast seem like a distant dream. But there's no time to dwell. Sparta's day marches on, and you're expected to keep up. The sun's higher now, the air warmer, carrying the scent of dust and distant pine. You take a deep breath, steeling yourself for what's next, and step back into the rhythm of this unforgiving world. The courtyard's bustle fades as you follow the women back toward the training grounds, the sun now a steady weight on your shoulders. The air hums with the scent of baked earth and wild herbs. And your sandals scuff against the path, still tender from this morning's blisters. Your stomach settled from the sparse breakfast, barley bread and olives are growing on you. Though you'd kill for a cappuccino. Lysandra walks beside you, her stride easy, while Calliope hums a low tune that feels oddly familiar, like a lullaby from a world you've never known. You're heading for more training, but this time, it's with your peers, and the mood is lighter, almost playful. Almost. You reach a wide field, not the dusty one from earlier but a softer expanse, bordered by low shrubs and a trickling stream. The other women, a mix of ages, are already there, stretching or chatting in small clusters. You're struck by the camaraderie. The way they move together, like a flock of birds that knows its rhythm. Sparta's women are trained to be fierce, yes, but here, you see the bonds that hold them. You're handed a leather ball, worn and stitched, and told to join a game, something between soccer and a free-for-all. You grip the ball, its texture rough against your palms, and wonder if you can fake a sudden injury. Spoiler. You can't. The game begins, and it's chaos. You run, dodge, and try to kick the ball toward a makeshift goal, but the other women are relentless. They move like they were born for this. Their laughter sharp and teasing when you trip over your own chiton. Lysandra scores, her foot connecting with a thud, and you're half impressed, half annoyed. You manage a clumsy pass to Calliope, who winks before sprinting off. It's competitive, but there's a warmth here, a sense of sisterhood forged in sweat and shared struggle. You're panting, your hair a mess. And you laugh to yourself. Imagine posting this on social media with hashtag Spartan Vibes. The algorithm would eat it up. Historically, these games were a cornerstone of Spartan women's lives. Unlike their Athenian counterparts, confined to looms and kitchens, you're expected to compete, to hone your body and spirit. These contests build not just strength but loyalty, preparing you to stand together if Sparta's men fell in battle. You feel that purpose now, even as your lungs burn. The game ends with your team losing, and Lysandra slaps your back, saying, "Not bad for city legs." You roll your eyes but grin, grateful for the nickname's persistence. It's starting to feel like a badge, not a barb. Then comes the quirky part, the singing. As the group rests sprawled on the grass, someone starts a hymn, not the gentle kind you'd expect, but a battle anthem, its rhythm sharp and driving. The women join in, their voices rising over the stream's murmur. It's strange, this blend of war and melody, like they're serenading the gods of conflict. You're handed a scrap of cloth with lyrics scratched in charcoal and told to sing. Your voice cracks, and Calliope nudges you, whispering, "Louder, or the gods won't hear." You try, mangling the words, and the others laugh, not unkindly. You chuckle too, imagining explaining karaoke to them. They'd probably turn it into a blood sport. This singing isn't just tradition. It's a flex, a way to show Sparta's enemies that even its women are ready for war. You notice some women weaving grass into tiny wreaths as they sing, a small, eccentric habit that feels out of place amid the martial vibe. Lysandra says it's for luck, a charm for the next festival. You try it, your fingers clumsy, and end up with a lopsided knot. Stick to running, she teases, and you laugh again, the sound swallowed by the hymn's cadence. It's your third laugh today, a small victory in this grueling day. Scholars still debate whether these communal activities gave women real agency or just served Sparta's military machine. Were you truly free in these moments, or was every song, every game a cog in the city's war-driven culture? You're too breathless to dwell on it, but the question hums in the back of your mind. The women around you seem at ease, their faces flushed with exertion and pride. You're not there yet, maybe you never will be. The hymn ends, and you sit, the grass cool against your legs. The stream glitters under the sun. And for a moment, you let yourself breathe, let the world soften. But Sparta doesn't linger. The group rises, brushing grass from their chitons, and you're pulled into a final round of stretches. Your body protests, every muscle screaming, but you follow along, mimicking Lysandra's fluid movements. The air carries the faint scent of lavender from the shrubs, and you cling to it. A tiny anchor in this relentless day. You're surviving, barely, but surviving. The women chatter about the festival coming tonight, their voices a low buzz. You're not sure what's next, but you know it won't be easy. You glance at the stream, wishing you could dunk your head in it, and brace for the rest of Sparta's demands. The sun hangs high now, its heat pressing down as you leave the field, the echo of battle hymns fading behind you. Your legs are heavy, the grass wreaths you tried weaving long since abandoned in a tangle. Lysandra's teasing still rings in your ears, but there's no time to dwell on your lack of crafting skills. You're back at the household, the courtyard bathed in midday light. Its clay walls radiating warmth. The air smells of dust and wool, with a faint trace of the olives from breakfast. Remember those salty little moons? Your stomach's already grumbling again. But food's a distant promise. Sparta has other plans for you now, chores. You're ushered toward a corner of the courtyard where a loom looms, pun intended, like a stern overseer. It's a massive wooden frame, strung with taut woolen threads, and you're expected to weave. You stare at it, your fingers still sore from clutching that leather ball earlier, and wonder if you can fake a sudden allergy to wool. No such luck. Calliope hands you a shuttle, its weight surprisingly solid, and shows you how to pass it through the threads. Keep it steady, she says, her hands moving with a practiced grace you can only dream of. Your first attempt is a disaster, the threads tangling like a bad hair day. Calliope sighs, and you mutter, "I'm better at scrolling than spinning." She doesn't get the joke, but you chuckle anyway. Weaving isn't just a task, it's a duty, woven, again, pun intended, into Sparta's social fabric. Historically, Spartan women managed households with the same discipline they brought to the training field. While men were off drilling or fighting, you were expected to keep the home running. From spinning wool to rationing grain. It's a different kind of strength, less flashy than javelin throwing but no less demanding. You try again, the shuttle wobbling through the threads, and manage a semi-decent row. Calliope nods, a rare flicker of approval, and you feel a tiny spark of pride. Maybe you're not totally hopeless. The chores don't stop at weaving. You're sent to check the household stores, jars of grain, oil, and dried figs lined up in a cool, shadowed room. The air here is earthy, almost soothing, and you run your fingers along a clay jar. Its surface smooth under your blisters. You're tasked with measuring out barley for tomorrow's bread, and the scoop feels absurdly heavy. You spill some, of course, and Lysandra, passing by, quips, "You feed the floor better than us." You laugh, brushing the grains into a pile, and imagine explaining a grocery delivery app to her. She'd probably burn the phone for witchcraft. There's a quirky detail in this domestic grind. The jars are marked with tiny scratches, not just for inventory but as a kind of code. Lysandra explains their tallies for offerings to the gods, grain set aside for Athena or Demeter. It's a small, eccentric habit, like leaving a cookie for Santa. But it grounds you in Sparta's blend of practicality and faith. You scratch a mark on a jar, mimicking the pattern, and feel a flicker of connection to the women who've done this before you. It's fleeting though, your arms are screaming, and the loom's still waiting. As you work, you notice the other women moving with quiet efficiency, their chatter low and purposeful. They discuss the festival tonight, the one you've heard about earlier, and the weight of their expectations presses on you. You're not just weaving cloth or counting grain, you're upholding a legacy. Scholars still debate whether these domestic roles gave Spartan women real power or just chained them to the state's needs in a different way. Were you managing the household? Or was the household managing you? You're too busy untangling wool to puzzle it out, but the question lingers, like dust in the air. The courtyard hums with activity. The scent of wool and oil mingling with the faint tang of sweat. You're sent to fetch water next, hauling a clay jug to a nearby spring. The path is shaded, thank the gods. And the air carries a whisper of pine. You fill the jug, its weight pulling at your shoulders, and trudge back, water sloshing onto your chiton. You're exhausted, your body a map of aches. But there's a strange rhythm to this work. It's relentless, yes, but it's also grounding, like the steady beat of a drum you're learning to follow. You set the jug down, wiping sweat from your brow, and glance at the loom. It's still there, judging you. Calliope calls you back to try again, and you groan, but you go. Your hands are steadier now, the shuttle moving with less resistance. It's not perfect, but it's progress. You laugh softly, thinking of your old to-do lists, emails, errands, Netflix. They seem trivial now, dwarfed by the sheer physicality of this life. The sun's dipping lower, casting long shadows across the courtyard, and you realize the day's halfway done. You've survived the morning, but Sparta's not finished with you yet. The courtyard's rhythm slows as the midday heat blankets everything, the air thick with the scent of wool and sun-warmed clay. Your hands are still clumsy from wrestling with the loom. Threads tangled like your thoughts. The water jug you hauled sits heavy in the corner, a small victory, but your shoulders ache as if you've carried a boulder. Lysandra's voice cuts through the haze, calling you to follow her. Time for a break, she says, and you nearly weep with relief. A break in Sparta? You'd sooner expect a Wi-Fi signal. But you trail her, your sandals dragging, toward a grove of olive trees just beyond the household. The path is narrow, dappled with shade, and the air shifts, carrying the crisp scent of leaves and earth. The olive grove is a quiet sanctuary, its gnarled trees stretching low, their silver-green leaves whispering in the breeze. You sink onto the grass, the coolness a balm against your overheated skin. Lysandra hands you a clay cup of water, not the resin-tinged wine from breakfast, but pure, cold, and glorious. You sip slowly, savoring the way it soothes your parched throat. For a moment, you close your eyes, letting the grove's serenity wrap around you. Imagine this as your lunch break, no emails, just the hum of cicadas and the faint rustle of leaves. This pause isn't just for rest. It's a chance to reflect. Sparta reveres its land, its groves and rivers as sacred as its warriors. These olive trees, some older than the women tending them, are more than crops. They're symbols of endurance, their roots deep in Laconia's soil. You run your fingers over a tree's rough bark, feeling its age, its quiet strength. It's humbling. And you wonder if you'd last as long as these trees under Sparta's demands. Probably not. You're already dreaming of a nap, and it's barely noon. You chuckle softly, picturing your friends' faces if they saw you now, sprawled under a tree like some ancient philosopher. Where's your latte? They tease. Historically, olive groves were vital to Sparta's economy and culture. Women, often managing household resources, played a role in their upkeep, from harvesting to pressing oil for food and rituals. You imagine Calliope out here, her hands stained with olive juice, cursing a stubborn branch. The thought grounds you, tying you to the women who've worked this land for centuries. But there's a quirky detail you notice: a small stone altar tucked among the trees, barely knee-high, with offerings of dried figs and a single feather. Lysandra says it's for Pan, the god of wild places, a nod to the grove's untamed spirit. It's charming, like leaving a tip for the forest itself, and you add a pebble to the pile, feeling a flicker of connection. As you rest, Lysandra talks about the land, her voice low and steady, like she's telling a bedtime story. She mentions how some women, widowed by war, inherited plots of this very soil. It's a rare privilege in the Greek world, where land usually passed to men. You're struck by the idea, you, owning a piece of this grove, these trees? It's empowering, but heavy too. Scholars still debate whether this land ownership gave Spartan women real power or was just a practical necessity to keep the state running while men fought. Did it make you free? Or was it another duty in disguise? You're not sure, but the weight of the question settles over you, as tangible as the shade. The grove's peace is fleeting. A distant shout signals the end of your break, and you groan, hauling yourself up. Your body's a chorus of complaints, blisters, bruises, and a new twinge in your back. Lysandra laughs, calling you city legs again, and you shoot her a mock glare. It's your third laugh today, a small spark in this grueling day. You brush grass from your chiton, the fabric now a canvas of dirt and sweat, and glance back at the altar. That pebble you left feels like a promise, though to what, you're not sure. Maybe to endure, to keep going, even when every muscle begs you to quit. The path back to the household is shorter than you'd like, the grove's coolness giving way to the sun's relentless glare. The air smells of dust again, the olive's crispness fading. You're not ready for more chores, more demands, but Sparta doesn't care. You think of the loom waiting for you, its threads a silent judgment, and sigh. Remember the barley bread from breakfast, its cross for Demeter? You're starting to see how everything here, trees, tasks, even meals, is woven together, a tapestry of duty and survival. You're part of it now, for better or worse, and the day's only half done. You take a deep breath, steeling yourself, and step back into the heat. The olive grove's shade is a fading memory as you trudge back to the household, the midday sun searing the path beneath your sandals. The air is thick with dust and the faint, lingering scent of olive leaves, but your brief respite feels like a dream stolen by Sparta's relentless rhythm. Your back aches from hauling water, your hands are raw from the loom, and you're pretty sure your chiton is more dirt than fabric now. Lysandra walks ahead, her stride annoyingly steady, while you fantasize about a cold shower and a Netflix binge. No such luck, you're headed for afternoon training, and this time, it's combat. Yes, combat. You, with your stellar record of tripping over roots, are about to wield a shield. You reach a new training ground, a flat, sun-baked clearing ringed by low stones. The other women are already there, their faces set with a quiet intensity that makes your stomach twist. A stack of wooden shields and blunt spears waits, their surfaces worn but sturdy. Calliope hands you a shield, its weight dragging at your arm like an overzealous gym weight. Hold it high, she says, demonstrating with a fluid motion. You try, your arm trembling, and nearly drop it on your foot. You laugh under your breath, imagining explaining this to your yoga instructor. Downward dog? Try downward shield. The thought's a small comfort as you adjust your grip. This isn't just exercise, it's preparation. Historically, Spartan women were trained in basic combat to defend the city if the men were away or defeated. Unlike other Greek women, you're expected to know how to thrust a spear or hold a line. A role that set Sparta apart in the ancient world. You feel the weight of that legacy now, the shield a literal burden. The instructor, a lean woman with a voice like gravel, barks orders: block, thrust, step. You mimic her, your movements clumsy but determined. The spear feels alien, its balance all wrong, and your first thrust wobbles like a toddler's first steps. Calliope smirks, but offers a tip. Use your hips, not just your arms. You try again, and it's marginally better. The training is grueling, the sun relentless as it glares off the shields. Sweat stings your eyes, and your arm screams for mercy, but you keep going. The other women move with a grace born of years, their spears darting like extensions of themselves. You're paired with Lysandra for a mock duel, and she disarms you in seconds, her shield knocking yours aside. "City legs, city arms," she teases, and you roll your eyes, laughing despite the sting. It's your second laugh today. A flicker of light in this bruising day. You pick up your shield, heavier now, and try again, managing to block one of her strikes. Progress, maybe? There's a quirky detail you notice amid the sweat and strain. Some women tie strips of red cloth around their spear handles, the same shade as the hair ties from this morning's drills. It's a small, eccentric flourish, a way to mark their weapons or maybe just to feel like individuals in this collective grind. Lysandra says it's for luck. So the gods don't mix up our spears. You chuckle, picturing a divine lost and found for misplaced weapons. You tie a strip to your own spear, fumbling the knot, and feel a tiny spark of belonging, even if your thrusts are still pathetic. The instructor calls for a break, and you collapse onto the ground, shield discarded. The earth is warm, almost comforting, and the air carries a faint whiff of pine from the hills. You watch the other women, their faces flushed but resolute, and wonder how they endure this. Scholars still debate how much combat training Spartan women actually received. Were you truly prepared for battle, or was this symbolic, a way to instill discipline and fearlessness? The question hums as you rub your aching arm, the shield strap leaving a red mark on your skin. You're not sure where you stand, but you're starting to respect the strength it takes to even try. The training resumes with a final drill, holding a defensive line. You stand shoulder to shoulder with Lysandra and Calliope, shields raised, and practice stepping in unison. It's less about fighting and more about unity, a reminder that Sparta's strength lies in its cohesion. You stumble once, your shield dipping, but Calliope nudges you back into place. "Together," she says, and you nod, your breath ragged. The line holds, and for a moment, you feel part of something bigger, even if your arms are screaming. Remember the olive grove's peace? You trade your spear for that shade right now, but Sparta doesn't bargain. The session ends as the sun begins to dip, casting long shadows across the clearing. You set down your shield, your hands trembling, and wipe sweat from your brow. The other women gather their gear, their voices low but tinged with pride. You're exhausted, bruised, and maybe a little proud, too. You've survived combat training, barely. The air cools slightly, carrying the scent of dust and distant time, and you brace for what's next. Sparta's day is far from over, and you're learning, step by painful step, what it means to be one of its women. The combat training ground recedes as you follow the women back toward the household, your arms throbbing from the weight of that shield. The air is cooler now, tinged with the earthy scent of dusk creeping in, though the sun still lingers, painting the hills in soft gold. Your chiton is a mess, sweat, dust, and a new tear from snagging on a spear. You're starting to think, "City Legs" is the least of your nicknames. Lysandra walks beside you, humming that battle hymn from earlier, and you're too tired to tell her it's stuck in your head. You trade your spear for noise-canceling headphones, but Sparta's not big on creature comforts. Back at the household, the courtyard is quieter, the midday bustle replaced by a gentle hum of activity. The other women gather in small groups, some sitting on stone benches, others leaning against the clay walls. You're not here for more chores, thank the gods, but for something less formal, conversation. It's a chance to bond, to weave the social threads that hold Spartan women together. You sink onto a bench, your legs grateful for the reprieve, and take a clay cup of water someone hands you. The water's cool, with a faint mineral tang, and you sip it slowly, letting the courtyard's calm settle over you. Imagine this as your coffee shop hangout, minus the Wi-Fi and overpriced lattes. The women talk in low voices, their words weaving through the air like the loom you fumbled earlier. They discuss the festival tonight, the harvest, a neighbor's bold new weaving pattern. You listen, trying to keep up. But the names and terms are a blur: helots, Syssitia, Cryptia. It's like eavesdropping on a group chat from another century. Calliope notices your silence and nudges you. "Speak, city legs," she says, her tone teasing but kind. You ask about the festival, hoping it's a safe topic, and the women light up, their faces softening. They describe dances under the moon, offerings to Artemis, and you nod, pretending you're not terrified of tripping mid-dance. Historically, these social moments were crucial for Spartan women, while men bonded in mess halls or on battlefields. You built your own networks, a web of loyalty and influence that shaped the city's social hierarchy. You're starting to see it now, the subtle power in these conversations. The way a glance or a word can shift the mood. Lysandra mentions a woman named Agath, whose sharp tongue has swayed more decisions than most men's spears. You're intrigued, but also intimidated. You're used to group texts, not this intricate dance of status and wit. You laugh softly, imagining Agath running a corporate boardroom. She'd probably have everyone saluting her by lunch. There's a quirky tradition you notice as the talk continues. Some women are braiding each other's hair, their fingers quick and sure. It's not just grooming, it's ritual. A pre-festival custom to honor Artemis, whose wild beauty they'll emulate tonight. The braids are tight, adorned with red threads, those same lucky strips from the spears and hair ties. You're roped in, of course, and Lysandra tugs at your hair, her hands less gentle than you'd like. "Hold still," she mutters, and you wince but obey. The result is uneven, but you feel oddly proud. Like you've earned a merit badge. You chuckle, picturing your stylist's horror at this DIY approach. "No highlights?" They'd gasp. The braiding isn't just aesthetic, it's a moment of intimacy. A way to strengthen bonds. You notice Calliope braiding a younger woman's hair, her touch careful, almost maternal. It's a reminder that these women aren't just warriors or weavers, they're sisters, mothers, friends. You're an outsider, but for now you're part of it, your lopsided braid a temporary passport. The air smells of wool and thyme, the courtyard's walls glowing in the fading light. You ask Lysandra about Artemis, and she tells you stories of the goddess's hunt, her voice low and rhythmic, like she's coaxing you to sleep. You're half tempted to doze. But that'd probably earn you a new nickname. Scholars still debate how much influence Spartan women wielded in these social circles. Were you shaping the city's future with every word? Or was your role confined to supporting its men? The question lingers as you listen to the women, their voices a tapestry of strength and subtlety. You're not sure where you fit. But you're learning to navigate this world, one conversation at a time. Lysandra finishes your braid, patting your shoulder. "Not bad," she says, and you laugh. "You're third today." A small spark in this endless day. You're exhausted, but the connection here, however fleeting, keeps you going. The talk winds down as the sun dips lower. The courtyard bathed in twilight's soft glow. The women rise, their braids gleaming, and you follow, your legs heavy but your heart a little lighter. The festival's coming, and with it, new challenges. You touch your braid, feeling the red thread, and think of the olive grove's altar, the pebble you left for Pan. Small acts, but they tie you to this place, this life. The air cools, carrying the scent of pine and distant smoke, and you brace for what's next, knowing Sparta's demands never truly pause. Twilight drapes the courtyard in a soft, violet haze, the air cooling as the scent of pine and warm clay lingers. Your braid, lopsided but proudly threaded with red, tugs gently at your scalp, a reminder of the women's hands that shaped it. The chatter from your social circle fades, replaced by a new energy, anticipation. The festival for Artemis is tonight, and you're swept into preparations, your body aching but your mind buzzing. Lysandra nudges you toward a corner of the household where baskets of wool, dyed cloths, and clay vessels are piled. You're not just attending this festival, you're helping make it happen. No pressure, right? You'd rather be scrolling through event invites, but Sparta's got other plans. You're handed a bundle of white woolen ribbons, their texture soft but unwieldy, and told to weave them into garlands for the altar. Your fingers, still raw from the loom and that cursed shield, fumble the task. Calliope, ever the patient one, shows you how to twist the wool into tight, even coils. For Artemis, she says, her voice low, almost reverent. You try, producing a lumpy garland that looks more like a failed craft project. You laugh under your breath, imagining pitching this to a Pinterest board. Rustic chic, you mutter, and Lysandra, overhearing, quirks an eyebrow. City nonsense, she retorts. But there's a smile in it. The preparations are a dance of their own, each woman moving with purpose. Some polish bronze vessels, their surfaces glinting in the torchlight. Others practice steps for the ritual dance, their feet tracing patterns in the dust. You're pulled into the dance group, and oh, it's not the freestyle sway you're used to at parties. The steps are precise, a flowing sequence meant to mimic Artemis's hunt, graceful, but fierce. You stumble, nearly tripping over your chiton, and the younger women giggle. Like a deer, not a donkey. Calliope teases, and you laugh, your second of the day. You try again, your hips swaying awkwardly, but the rhythm starts to sink in, like a song you're learning by heart. Historically, festivals like this were central to Spartan life, especially for women, honoring Artemis, goddess of the hunt and protector of young girls. Wasn't just spiritual, it was a public declaration of your role in the city's strength. You're not just dancing, you're embodying Sparta's ideals, proving your vitality to the gods and the state. The garlands, the polished vessels, the dances, they're all offerings, tying you to a tradition older than the olive groves you rested in earlier. You feel that weight now, even as your feet falter. The air smells of wax and myrtle, the torches casting flickering shadows that make the courtyard feel alive, almost sacred. There's a quirky detail you notice amid the bustle. Some women are tying tiny bells to their garlands, their faint chimes ringing as they move. Lysandra says it's to wake Artemis's ears. A charming, if slightly superstitious, custom. You try attaching one, your fingers clumsy, and the bell falls into the dust. You laugh, your third today, picturing Artemis rolling her divine eyes at your offering. You pick it up, reattach it. And the chime is surprisingly sweet, like a whisper in the growing dark. It's a small act, but it makes you feel part of this, even if your garland's a mess. As you practice the dance, the steps grow smoother, though you're still a beat behind. The other women move like they were born for this, their bodies fluid, their faces serene. You're sweating. Your chitin sticking to your skin, but there's a strange joy in the effort. You're starting to understand the festival's pull, not just duty, but celebration, a moment to shine under the gods' gaze. Scholars still debate how much these rituals empowered Spartan women versus reinforcing their roles as state assets. Were you free in these dances, or was every step scripted by Sparta's needs? You're too focused on not tripping to dwell on it, but the question hums, like the bells on the garlands. The preparations wind down as the sky deepens to indigo, the first stars pricking through. You set your garland, lumpy but earnest, on a pile with the others, and join the women heading to wash up. The cold water from a clay basin stings your blisters but soothes your flushed skin. The air carries the scent of myrtle and smoke, the torch is now a constellation of flames around the courtyard. You're exhausted, your body a map of aches, but the festival's pull is stronger. Remember the olive grove's piece, the pebble you left for Pan? This feels different, bigger, like you're stepping into something ancient and unyielding. The women gather. Their chitons now adorned with ribbons, their braids gleaming. You touch your own braid, the red thread a quiet anchor, and follow them toward the festival site. The night is young, and Sparta's gods are waiting. You're not ready, you're never ready, but you move forward, one clumsy step at a time, into the heart of this moonlit ritual. The night air wraps around you, cool and sharp, as you leave the courtyard behind, following the women toward the festival site. The scent of myrtle and torch smoke clings to your chiton. now adorned with a single white ribbon that you're pretty sure is crooked. Your braid, with its red thread, bounces against your neck, and the faint chime of bells from the garlands echoes in the darkness. The path winds through olive groves. Remember their shade from earlier? Their leaves silver under the rising moon. You're exhausted, your body a chorus of aches from training, weaving, and dancing, but there's a pull in the air, a hum of something sacred. The festival of Artemis is here, and you're part of it. Ready or not. You reach a clearing, a wide expanse ringed by low stones and flickering torches. The altar to Artemis stands at the center, draped with your lumpy garland and others, their bells glinting like stars. The moon hangs full and heavy, bathing everything in a pale glow that makes the world feel both vast and intimate. The women arrange themselves in a loose circle, their faces serene, their chitons swaying as they move. You're handed a small clay vessel filled with oil, an offering for the goddess, and told to stand near Lysandra. You grip the vessel, its weight grounding you, and try not to spill it. You'd laugh at the irony, spilling an offering to the goddess of precision, but you're too nervous. The ritual begins with a low chant, the women's voices weaving together like the threads of your morning loom. It's not the battle hymn from the training field, but something softer, wilder, like the wind through the Taygetus mountains. You join in, your voice shaky, the words foreign but stirring. The chant rises, and the dance begins. You step forward, mimicking the steps you practiced, flowing, hunting motions that honor Artemis's grace. Your feet falter once, kicking up dust, and Calliope, beside you, whispers, "Steady, city legs." You smile, your first laugh of the night, and find the rhythm, your body swaying with the others under the moon's watchful eye. Historically, festivals like this were more than religious rites for Spartan women. They were a stage, a chance to display your strength and unity to the gods and the city. Artemis, protector of the wild and the young, was revered here, her worship tying you to Sparta's fierce ideals. You feel that now, the weight of every step, every note, as you dance. The oil in your vessel sloshes slightly, and you tighten your grip, praying you don't douse Lysandra. The thought makes you chuckle, your second laugh, imagining explaining this to your friends. "Yeah, I danced for a goddess and nearly set my friend on fire." They never believe you. There's a quirky detail you notice as the dance continues. Some women wear anklets of tiny bronze charms, shaped like arrows or deer, that jingle softly with each step. Lysandra says they're gifts from mothers to daughters, passed down to honor Artemis's hunt. It's charming, like a family heirloom you'd find in a modern jewelry box, but with a wilder edge. You wish you had one, though you'd probably trip over it. Your dance is clumsy but earnest, and the women don't judge, at least, not out loud. The torches cast long shadows, and the altar seems to glow, the garland's bells chiming as a breeze stirs. The chant shifts, growing quieter, and you're signaled to approach the altar. You pour your oil into a bronze basin, the liquid catching the firelight as it falls. The act feels heavy, like you're giving something of yourself to this place, this moment. The other women follow, their offerings pooling together. A silent vow to Artemis. You step back, your heart pounding, and watch as the high priestess, a stern woman with silver-streaked hair, raises her hands to the moon. Her voice carries, praising the goddess, and you feel a shiver, not from the cold but from the power of it all. Scholars still debate how much these rituals shaped Spartan women's identity. Were you truly communing with the divine, or performing for the state's approval? You're too caught in the moment to care. The dance resumes, faster now, the women spinning in pairs, their anklets ringing. You're paired with Calliope, who guides you with a firm hand, keeping you from stumbling. You're sweating, your chitin sticking to your skin, but there's joy in this, a release you didn't expect. You laugh again, your third, when you nearly step on her foot, and she laughs too. A rare sound that feels like a gift. The moon watches, the torches burn, and for a moment, you're not an outsider. You're part of this, a thread in Sparta's ancient tapestry. The ritual slows, the chant fading into silence. You stand breathless, as the women gather around the altar, their faces flushed with exertion and reverence. The air smells of oil and myrtle. The night alive with quiet power. You touch your braid, the red thread a reminder of the day's trials, and feel the weight of what's past. The festival's not over, but this moment, this dance, has marked you. You're not sure you'll survive Sparta's demands, but for now, you've danced under its moon, and that's enough. The festival's fervor lingers in the air. A faint hum of bells and myrtle as you step away from the altar, your breath still uneven from the dance. The moon hangs high, its light softening the clearing, while torches cast flickering shadows across the women's faces, flushed with exertion and reverence. Your chiton clings to your skin, damp with sweat, and your braid, red thread and all, feels heavy against your neck. The scent of oil and wild herbs wraps around you, grounding you in this sacred moment. But Sparta's night isn't done with you. The women drift toward a smaller circle of stones, where a fire crackles, its warmth beckoning. You follow, your legs wobbling, and settle by the flames, grateful for the chance to sit. The fire's glow paints the world in hues of amber and shadow, the air now tinged with smoke and the faint sweetness of burning pine. Lysandra hands you a clay cup of watered wine. Its resinous tang familiar from breakfast. Remember those olives and barley bread? You sip, the liquid cool against your parched throat, and let the fire's heat ease your aching muscles. The other women talk softly, their voices a soothing murmur, recounting the dance, the offerings, Artemis's watchful gaze. You're not expected to speak, which is a relief. Your head spinning. Not from wine but from the day's relentless demands, training, weaving, dancing. You're starting to wonder if Sparta ever sleeps. This moment by the fire is for reflection. A rare pause to process the weight of being a Spartan woman. You stare into the flames, their dance mirroring the one you just performed, and feel the emotional toll creeping in. You're strong, stronger than you thought, but the expectations here are a mountain, each task a stone you're expected to carry. The festival was beautiful, yes, but it was also a performance. A reminder of your role in Sparta's unyielding machine. You laugh softly, your first of the night, imagining explaining this to your therapist. So, I dance for a goddess. But I'm having an identity crisis. They need a whole new notebook. Historically, these quiet gatherings after rituals were vital for Spartan women. They weren't just about bonding but about reinforcing the city's values, strength, duty, sacrifice. You feel that now, the fire a mirror to the resolve burning in the women around you. Calliope shares a story of a past festival, when a storm broke mid-dance, yet the women kept going, their steps defiant under the rain. You're awed, but also exhausted just hearing it. Your modern life, with its coffee runs and deadlines, feels trivial against this relentless ethos. You shift on the stone, your blisters stinging, and wonder how they carry this weight every day. There's a quirky tale that surfaces, lightening the mood. Lysandra recounts how years ago, a young woman lost her sandal during the Artemis dance, only to find it later inexplicably perched on the altar. Artemis's joke, Lysandra says, grinning, and the others laugh, their voices rising over the fire's crackle. You laugh too, your second, picturing the goddess chuckling as she tossed the sandal skyward. It's a small story, but it humanizes this place, reminding you that even Sparta has its quirks, its moments of levity. You check your own sandals, half expecting one to vanish, and the thought makes you smile. The conversation turns to the future, tomorrow's tasks, the festival's aftermath. You listen, your cup empty now, and feel a pang of alienation. These women speak of their lives with a certainty you can't muster. You're here, yes, but you're a visitor. Your blisters and braid temporary. The fire's warmth is a comfort, but it can't burn away the gap between you and this world. Scholars still debate whether Spartan women found fulfillment in their roles or were trapped by them. Did these fireside moments give you space to breathe? Or were they just another stage for the city's ideals? You're too tired to unravel it, but the question glows like an ember in your mind. Calliope notices your silence and offers a piece of dried fig, its sweetness a small gift. You take it, murmuring thanks, and chew slowly, the flavor grounding you. The fire pops, sending sparks skyward, and you watch them fade against the moon's pale face. You're exhausted, your body a map of bruises and aches, but there's a strange peace here. In this circle of women and flame. You laugh again, your third, when Lysandra mimics your clumsy dance steps, her hands flailing. City legs, she teases and you roll your eyes. But the warmth of her jab lingers. The night deepens, the air growing colder, and the women begin to rise, brushing dust from their chitons. You follow, your legs heavy. The fire's glow fading behind you. The scent of smoke clings to your hair, a reminder of this fleeting pause. You touch your braid, the red thread a quiet anchor, and think of the garland you wove. Its bells chiming for Artemis. The day's not over, but this moment by the fire has steadied you, if only a little. Sparta's demands wait, and you step into the darkness, one weary foot at a time. The fire's embers are a distant glow as you leave the stone circle, the night air sharp against your skin, carrying the fading scent of smoke and myrtle. Your chiton is heavy with dust and sweat. Your braid tugging at your scalp, but the festival's energy still hums in your veins, mingling with exhaustion. The moon lights your path back to the household. Its pale beams threading through the olive groves, remember their shade, their whispered peace. The women walk in loose groups, their voices low, the chime of anklet charms fading into the darkness. You're with Lysandra and Calliope, their presence a quiet anchor, but your mind's elsewhere, tangled in the weight of what's to come. Sparta's not just about dances and garlands, it's about duty. And tonight you face one of its heaviest, marriage. You reach the household, the courtyard dim under starlight, its clay walls cool to the touch. The women disperse, some to rest, others to prepare for tomorrow, but you're pulled aside by an older woman, Irene, whose stern eyes soften just a fraction. She leads you to a small room, lit by a single oil lamp. Its flickering light casting shadows on jars of grain and folded chitons. You sit on a wooden stool, your legs grateful but your heart uneasy. Irene speaks of marriage, her voice low and deliberate, like she's weaving a thread you can't escape. You're not betrothed, thank the gods, but as a Spartan woman, you're expected to understand its role, to carry its burden. You laugh under your breath. You're first of the night, imagining swiping left on a Spartan suitor. Bad spear form, you'd say. Marriage in Sparta isn't about love, not in the way you know it. Historically, it was a contract. A way to secure alliances, produce warriors, and strengthen the state. Women like you were prized for strength and wit, not just beauty, but the pressure to marry well was immense. Irene explains the rituals. A suitor might abduct you, a staged act to prove his boldness, followed by a ceremony so brief it makes a courthouse wedding look lavish. You're expected to shave your head, wear a man's cloak, and wait in a darkened room, symbolic, sure, but also eerie. You shudder, picturing yourself bald. And chuckle, your second laugh, thinking of your stylist's meltdown. A buzz cut? In this economy? Irene's words are heavy, but there's a quirky detail that catches you. The bride's cloak is often dyed with crushed murex shells, a rare purple that's Sparta's nod to wealth. It's oddly extravagant for a city obsessed with austerity. Like splashing out on designer socks for a marathon. You touch your chiton, its plain weave a far cry from purple, and wonder about the women who wore that cloak. Their hopes and fears swallowed by duty. Irene shares a story of her own marriage, her voice softening as she describes her husband's clumsy attempt at the abduction. He tripped over a goat. You laugh again, your third, grateful for the levity, though the weight of her words lingers. You're not facing a suitor tonight, but Irene's lesson is clear: marriage is coming. Whether you're ready or not, you're expected to choose wisely, to bear sons who'll fight for Sparta, to uphold the city's honor. It's a role that feels both powerful and suffocating. Like holding a shield you can't put down. You think of the women you've met, Lysandra's sharp wit, Calliope's quiet strength, and wonder how they navigate this. Do they dream of love, or is duty enough? The lamp's flame wavers, and you feel a pang of homesickness for your world, where marriage is a choice, not a mandate. Scholars still debate whether Spartan women had real agency in marriage or were pawns in the state's game. Did you choose your husband for his merit? Or was every match orchestrated to serve Sparta's needs? The question hangs in the air, heavy as the oil lamp's smoke. You're too tired to unravel it, but it stirs something in you. A mix of awe and unease. Irene watches you, her eyes searching, and you nod, pretending you understand. You don't, not really, but you're learning, one heavy lesson at a time. The room feels smaller now, the air thick with the scent of oil and wool. Irene rises, signaling the end of the talk, and you follow her back to the courtyard. The night is deep. The stars sharp above the Taygetus mountains. You touch your braid, the red thread a reminder of the day's trials, training, dancing, now this. The other women are scattered, some sleeping, others murmuring by the courtyard's edge. You're exhausted, your body a map of aches, but sleep feels distant. Marriage looms like a shadow, and you're not sure you're strong enough to carry it. But Sparta doesn't care. You take a deep breath, the air cool and pine-scented, and step into the night, one weary foot at a time. The courtyard is still under the starlit sky, its clay walls barely visible in the deep night. The air is cool, laced with pine and the faint smoke of dying torches, and your chiton feels like a second skin, heavy with the day's dust and sweat. Your braid, with its red thread, tugs at your scalp, a quiet reminder of the festival, the fire, and Irene's heavy words about marriage. You're bone-tired. Each step a negotiation with your aching legs, but Sparta's lessons don't pause for exhaustion. Lysandra and Calliope are gone, likely resting, leaving you alone with your thoughts as you linger by a stone bench. The weight of marriage still sits on your chest, but now a new burden looms: motherhood. The mantle every Spartan woman is expected to wear. You laugh softly, your first of the night, imagining explaining maternity leave to Irene. Paid time off? For what? She'd scoff. You're not a mother, yet the gods willing, but the expectation is clear, woven into every task you've faced today. You settle onto the bench, the stone cold against your thighs, and let the night's quiet wrap around you. The stars glitter above the Taygetus mountains, their light as unyielding as Sparta's demands. Motherhood here isn't just personal, it's a duty to the state. A call to raise warriors who'll march under Sparta's crimson banners. You think of the women you've met, their strength and resolve, and wonder how they carry this role, knowing their sons might not return from battle. The thought is heavy, like the shield you fumbled earlier, and you're not sure you're strong enough for it. Historically, Spartan motherhood was revered, almost mythic. Women were celebrated for bearing strong sons, their legacy tied to the battlefield. You were expected to send your children to the Agoge. The brutal training system, at age 7, with a stoic nod and a heart you weren't allowed to show, was breaking. You imagine yourself in that moment, waving goodbye to a small, wide-eyed boy, and your throat tightens. You'd rather be back at the loom, tangling threads, than face that. You chuckle, your second laugh, picturing yourself sneaking a care package to the Agoge. "Granola bars for my warrior," you'd whisper, and the instructors would probably burn them. There's a quirky tradition you recall from Irene's earlier talk, one that surfaces now as you sit. Spartan mothers sang lullabies, but not the soothing kind you know. These were tales of battle, of spears and glory, sung to babies in their cradles. Lysandra mentioned one, her voice half mocking, about a hero slaying a boar with a single thrust. You try humming it, the melody strange and sharp, like a war cry softened for sleep. It's odd, charming in its way, like singing a toddler to bed with a heavy metal ballad. You laugh again, your third, imagining a Spartan baby requesting, "Twinkle, twinkle," instead. Good luck with that. The lullaby lingers in your mind, a reminder of the role you're meant to play. You're not just raising children, you're forging Sparta's future, one son at a time. The pressure is immense. And you feel it now, sitting alone in the courtyard. You think of Calliope, her gentle touch while braiding hair, and wonder if she's a mother, if she's sung those battle lullabies. You think of Lysandra, her sharp wit hiding something deeper, and wonder if she dreads this duty as much as you do. The night air is still, the scent of pine grounding you. But the weight of motherhood feels like a stone you can't lift. Scholars still debate whether Spartan women found power in motherhood or were bound by it. Did you shape the city through your sons? Or were you just a vessel for its war machine? The question hums, as persistent as the cicadas in the olive groves. Remember their shade, their altar to Pan? You're too tired to unravel it. But it stirs a mix of awe and fear. You're not ready for this, not for the lullabies or the goodbyes, but Sparta doesn't care. You're expected to endure. To carry this mantle with the same strength you brought to the training field, the loom, the dance. A soft sound breaks your thoughts. Footsteps. Irene appears. Her silhouette sharp against the starlight. She doesn't speak, just nods, as if she knows the weight you're carrying. She gestures toward the household, a silent command to rest. You rise, your legs protesting, and follow her, the courtyard's quiet swallowing your steps. The air smells of earth and distant time, a faint echo of the day's trials. You touch your braid, the red thread a tether to this relentless world, and think of the garland you wove, its bells chiming for Artemis. Motherhood looms, but for now you're just you, surviving one moment at a time. The night holds you, and you step forward, weary but unbroken. The courtyard stillness clings to you as you follow Irene into the household. The night air sharp with pine and the faint musk of cooled clay. Your chiton is a map of the day's trials, dust, sweat, and that stubborn tear from the spear, and your braid, red thread and all, feels like a weight you've carried for centuries. The stars burn above, their light cold and unyielding, mirroring Sparta's demands. You're beyond exhausted, each step a plea for rest. But the lessons of marriage and motherhood still churn in your mind, heavy as the shield you fumbled. Now, as the night deepens, you face one final truth, the ever-present shadow of war. And your role in defending Sparta. You laugh softly, your first of the night, imagining explaining this to your friends. Yeah, I'm basically a warrior now, you'd say. And they choke on their kombucha. Irene leads you to a small alcove off the main room, where a single oil lamp flickers, casting shadows on a stack of wooden shields and spears. You're not training, not at this hour, thank the gods, but reflecting. She sits, her eyes sharp despite the late hour, and speaks of war, her voice low, like the wind before a storm. Sparta lives under its threat always, she says, and as a woman, you're not just a bystander. You're expected to hold the city if the men fall, to wield a spear, to stand firm. You glance at the shields, their surfaces scarred, and feel a chill that's not from the night air. You're no soldier, but Sparta doesn't care. Historically, Spartan women's role in war was unique in the Greek world. While Athenian women stayed behind walls, you were trained to fight, to protect the home front if invaders came. Stories tell of women rallying during sieges, wielding whatever they could, spears, stones, even words, to drive enemies back. You imagine yourself in that chaos. Your clumsy javelin throws from this afternoon suddenly far too real. You'd rather be back in the olive grove, leaving pebbles for Pan, but that peace feels distant now. You chuckle, your second laugh, picturing yourself shouting battle cries in your chiton. Like a yoga class, but with stabbing. You mutter, and Irene's raised eyebrow tells you she doesn't get it. There's a quirky detail she shares, one that softens the grim topic. During wartime, women tied their chitons with knotted cords, a practical choice to move freely but also a symbol of readiness. Like a warrior's belt. Some dyed the cords red, echoing the threads in your braid, and wore them even in peace, a quiet boast of courage. You touch your chiton, imagining a cord at your waist. and feel a flicker of pride, though you're not sure you've earned it. It's charming, this blend of practicality and swagger, like wearing a lucky charm to a fight. You smile. Thinking of your gym bag's keychain, same vibe, less bloodshed. Irene's words grow heavier, painting a world where war isn't distant but intimate. You're expected to send sons to battle, to bury husbands, to stand unbowed if Sparta calls. You think of Lysander's sharp grin, Calliope's steady hands, and wonder how they face this. Do they fear the horns of war? Or do they meet them with the same resolve they bring to the loom, the dance? You're not there yet, maybe you never will be. The lamp's flame wavers, its smoke curling like a warning. And you feel the weight of this role, this city, pressing down. You're not just living a day, you're carrying centuries. Scholars still debate the extent of Spartan women's military involvement. Were you truly fighters, trained and ready, or was your role symbolic, a morale boost for the men? The question lingers, as sharp as the spears in the corner. You're too tired to puzzle it out. But it stirs a mix of awe and dread. Irene watches you, her silence a challenge, and you nod, though your heart's racing. You're not ready for war, not for the cord or the spear. But you're learning what it means to stand in this world, one bruising step at a time. She rises, signaling the end, and you follow her back to the courtyard. The night is deep. The air cold enough to prickle your skin. The other women are shadows now, sleeping or keeping vigil, their presence a quiet strength. You laugh again, your third, when you nearly trip over a stray sandal, remembering Lysander's tale of the one left on Artemis's altar. Not mine, you whisper, steadying yourself. The stars watch. The mountains loom, and you touch your braid, the red thread a tether to this relentless day. War is a shadow, but for now, you're still here, still moving, one weary foot toward rest. The courtyard is a realm of shadows now, the night so deep it feels like the world holds its breath. The air is crisp, scented with pine and the faint earthiness of cooled clay. And your chiton clings to you, a tattered chronicle of sweat, dust, and that persistent tear from the spear. Your braid, with its red thread, hangs heavy, a final tether to this unending day. Irene's words about war still echo, sharp as the spears you left behind, but the household is quiet, the other women either sleeping or lost in their own thoughts. You stand alone by the courtyard's edge, the Taygetus mountains looming under a sky ablaze with stars. You're beyond exhaustion, your body a tapestry of aches, yet Sparta's lessons linger, urging you to reflect one last time. You laugh softly, your first of the night, imagining telling your friends you survived this. Sparta? Nailed it! You'd brag, and they'd laugh, not believing a word. You find a low stone wall and sit, the cold seeping through your chiton, grounding you. The stars are countless. Their light a silent witness to the strength and sacrifices of Spartan women. You think of Lysander's sharp grin, Calliope's steady hands, Irene's unyielding gaze, women who carry this life with a grace you're only beginning to grasp. Today, you've run, wrestled, woven, danced, and faced the weight of marriage, motherhood, and war. Each task was a thread in Sparta's tapestry, each moment a test of endurance. You're not one of them, not really, but you've walked their path, felt their burdens, and that's enough to humble you. The day's trials flash through your mind, the dusty training field, the olive grove's fleeting peace, the festival's moonlit dance. Remember the garland you wove, its lumpy bells chiming for Artemis? Or the barley bread, its cross for Demeter? These small acts tied you to this place, to its gods and its grit. You've learned what it means to be a Spartan woman, not just the strength, but the cost. You're struck by their resilience, their ability to balance warriors' resolve with weavers' care. To dance for a goddess while bracing for war. You chuckle, your second laugh, picturing yourself explaining this to a history class. Spartan women? Total badasses, but I'm sticking to yoga. There's a quirky detail you recall, a final gift from this day. Some women, before sleeping, leave a small stone by their pallets, a quiet offering to Hestia, goddess of the hearth. Lysandra mentioned it during the fireside talk, saying it's for keeping the home steady. It's simple, almost whimsical, like leaving a coin under your pillow for luck. You don't have a pallet tonight, but you pick up a smooth pebble from the courtyard, rolling it in your palm. It's cool, solid, a piece of Sparta you can hold. You set it by the wall, a nod to Hestia, and feel a flicker of peace, like you've left a part of yourself here. Historically, Spartan women were the backbone of their city, their strength as vital as any warriors. They trained, managed households, raised sons, and stood ready to defend their home, all while weaving the social and spiritual threads that held Sparta together. You've seen that today, in every blister and braid, every spear and song. Their legacy is in the land itself, the olive groves, the mountains, the starlit sky above you. Scholars still debate whether their lives were empowering or oppressive. A question as complex as the women themselves. Were you free in your strength, or bound by it? You don't have an answer, but you feel their story in your bones, a quiet fire that burns even now. The night is still, the air carrying a whisper of time, a faint echo of the groves you passed. You think of the red cords women tied for war, the lullabies of battle, the braids woven for Artemis. These are the details that make Sparta human, not just a myth of iron and blood. You laugh again, your third, when you realize you're still checking your sandals, half expecting one to vanish like the one on Artemis's altar. Not tonight, you whisper, smiling. You're exhausted, but there's a clarity here. A sense of having touched something ancient and enduring. You rise, your legs trembling, and take one last look at the courtyard. The stars watch, the mountains stand sentinel. And you feel the weight of this day settle into you, not as a burden, but as a story. You've survived, barely, and that's enough. You touch your braid, the red thread a final anchor, and step toward the household, ready for rest. Sparta's lessons will linger, but for now, the night is yours, and you carry its quiet strength into the dark, one weary step at a time. The stars above the courtyard seem to soften as you lean against the stone wall, your body heavy with the day's trials, your chitin a worn tapestry of dust and memory. The air is cool now, woven with whispers of pine and time, and the Taygetus mountains stand silent, their shadows cradling the night. Your braid, with its red thread, rests against your shoulder. A quiet reminder of the women who've shaped you today, Lysandra's sharp wit, Calliope's steady hands, Irene's unyielding lessons. You've run through Sparta's fields, wrestled under its sun, danced beneath its moon, and carried the weight of its expectations, marriage, motherhood, war. You're not one of them, not truly, but you've walked their path, felt their strength. And that's enough to warm you in this still, starlit moment. You shift on the wall, the pebble you left for Hestia glinting faintly at your feet. It's a small thing, like the garland's bells, the bread's cross, the cords tied for battle, details that make Sparta more than a legend, a place of flesh and spirit. You think of the olive grove's shade, its altar to Pan, and the fire's glow where stories of lost sandals sparked laughter. These moments, woven through the day's relentless demands, are what you'll carry. What make you marvel at the women who live this life, day after unyielding day? You smile, a gentle warmth spreading, and imagine whispering to them across time. You were incredible. The night feels like a friend now, its quiet wrapping you like a warm blanket. You've survived, bruised, blistered but whole, and there's pride in that, soft but certain. Sparta's lessons are etched in you. Strength is not just muscle, but endurance, not just duty, but connection. You see it in the women's braids, their songs, their unbowed spines. Their legacy hums in the land, in the stars, in the pebble at your feet, and you're part of it, if only for this day. You laugh, a quiet sound, picturing your modern world, coffee runs, deadlines, playlists, and how small it seems against this vast, ancient rhythm. Now you can close your eyes and let the currents of time take you away. Let the stars blur, the mountains fade, the scent of time drift into memory. You're not leaving Sparta behind, you're carrying it, a spark of its fire in your chest. The women you've met, the trials you've faced, they're with you. Whispering of strength, of sacrifice, of a life both fierce and tender. Rest now, dear listener, in the warmth of their story. The night is yours, and history, with all its secrets, waits patiently for you to return.